Hello and welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast with Jackson and Kyle. I am Jackson, and I'm joined here, as always, by the man who's ready to spend the next hour talking about Spencer Rattler. Kyle, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. I don't have a lot of Saints takes, to be honest. We can skip over them.
Okay, no, we'll talk about the Saints. I'll get accused of being a hater if I don't talk about them, which
Well,
I
you
am.
won one, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. Okay, yeah. So only 3 teams to talk about today, so that'll be fun. No, we will plow through a couple of these teams, but we will cover the entire NFC South. Kyle, we have a ton to get to as well because not only are we doing the NFC South, but as always, we're going to give our final predictions at the end of this because this is it. This is our last preview show of the off season. We are officially in regular season territory after this week, so we're going to give MVP picks, defensive player of the year picks, all those award stuff. We're also going to say who we think is going to the Super Bowl, who we think is going to win the Super Bowl. I asked the community tab who they think is going to win the Super Bowl, so we have that we'll get into. So a jam-packed show here, Kyle.
Jam-packed show, lots to talk about, and we're kicking it off with the best thing, the NFC South.
Yes, exactly. We really this is just me forcing everyone to listen to hear about my crappy division before we actually get into the good stuff.
Hey, maybe we got some sleepers here. Could there be a Super Bowl contender lurking in the NFC South? You never know.
That high on Bryce Young. Well, we'll get into it. Kyle, let's get into the list. I think I know where you're going with number 4, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's not a strong division. I have it 7th out of 8 overall.
How dare you?
There's one team for sure that I think is going to be among the bottom tier teams in the NFL, and that's where we're starting. And that's the New Orleans Saints. For their credit, I like pieces of this team still. I like the secondary. I think Chase Young's a good player. I think Demario Davis, even at his age, is still a very good player. But there's a lot of issues here. And it starts with the unfortunate aspect of Derek Carr. Not everybody loves Derek Carr, especially in New Orleans. But he's going to be better than the quarterback situation they have right now. I think that's too tough to come back from. Not to mention, I don't know if it's a strong offensive line right now. We'll see what we get out of the young guys there. The receivers, we're one Chris Olave injury away from this being a really bad receiver room, I think, overall, too. So all that put together, I think the Saints are going to struggle. I think this is a bad football team with a bad quarterback.
Yeah, we can just start there. The Kellen Moore of it all, I don't know what's going to happen with that. We'll give it tier 4 just because new head coach. We'll see what happens. But, the quarterback play is really what this is all coming down to. I don't know if this is a great team if they have great quarterback play. You have a situation where Spencer Rattler has won the starting job. We assume Tyler Shuck is going to find his way into the lineup at some point, but you never know. We'll see how this goes. But ultimately, again, I'm not saying Rattler's a horrible quarterback. He's an NFL player, but I don't know if he's someone you want as a starter or even a high-end backup at this point in his career. So it's tier 5. It's one of the worst quarterback situations in the league going into 2025, if not the worst.
Unless there's a leap here, he's a backup. That's what it is. He's a backup to me. I watched. He had a 40.3 QBR last season. He had some moments, but a lot of it was if you just go through his raw stats, a lot of these games, it was 5, 4, 5, 6 yards per attempt. He's not able to throw the ball downfield. The completion percentage wasn't always there in those big games. I think he's going to stick around the league for a little bit, but I think it's really concerning that they had Tyler Shuck in the building. And, Tyler Shuck was the guy in the draft that was kind of he's the older prospect. He's had a lot of chance to improve and kind of figure himself out, and he wasn't able to beat out Spencer Rattler for this job. That's a bit concerning to me because I think Spencer Rattler is heading towards a long backup quarterback career.
Yeah. It doesn't get much easier when you get through the rest of this roster maybe has some question marks as well, right? This is not just this football is more than one player. You have the offensive line, which has a lot of young players I'm interested in, like Talise Fuaga and Kelvin Banks Jr., first-round picks from each of the past 2 years. Those will be their starting tackles. Cesar Ruiz, Eric McCoy, and I guess the plan is to try Trevor Penning at left guard. So we'll see how that goes. They have often memed Will Clapp on their roster, so you have that. But it's even like Dylan Raduns, maybe like him in a new situation could work. A lot of young players for this offensive line, but I also don't know if they have great players as of this spot. So I think I'm going to just kind of give it tier 3, and we'll see how it works out. Maybe that's being generous. This receiving core also, like, listen, big Chris Olave guys here on this channel, but Chris Olave he's had the injury history, and he's turned into Chris Olave when healthy. And when you look at the rest of this receiving room, I mean, Brandon Cooks is currently slotted as their number 2 wide receiver. You have Rashid Shaheed, who I like Trey Palmer, who just got waived by Tampa Bay, is probably going to be a significant playing time with this roster. Like the Jawan Johnson as the tight end 1. Like, this is a tier 5 receiving room on top of a not great offensive line.
Yeah, it's a developing offensive line. I mean, can you believe there's 4 first-round picks on this group?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've invested in this, and it hasn't really
recently.
come to fruition. Yeah, it hasn't really come to fruition yet. But that being said, like, Fuaga's got some talent, like you said. Kelvin Banks, there are some people that really loved him in the draft. And you could say, just as far as yeah, exactly. You could say even just as far as like physical tools, he was the most impressive offensive lineman in this class. I do see a scenario that he's going to be very good. But yeah, I think like Eric McCoy's a pretty good player, and then everything else is kind of unknown. Trevor Penning had good moments last season, but at the same time, like, we haven't really seen him put together like that. So it's a whole lot of unknown for me there. So that's a bit of a curb. And then I agree with you. Like, I'm a big Shaheed fan. I'm a big Olave fan, but Shaheed is kind of a big play merchant. That's kind of his thing, which is valuable. But at the same time, you don't want it leading your receiver room. And then Olave, I mean, it is what it is. He's had 4 head injuries in his NFL career, and he had one in college. So, you're hoping that he can stay on the field, but it's a risky proposition. Just concerned for the health at this point of the guy. I want him to play. He is good when he plays.
Yeah. Also, I realized I should have mentioned this at the beginning. A couple people brought up, I guess apparently I accidentally had this scheduled for noon instead of 6 o'clock. So sorry to anyone who was here 6 hours early. It is maybe now watching this after the fact, not realizing that when it was aired. I apologize, but doing what I can here. But yeah, Kyle, let's finish up the Saints offense. Alvin Kamara is still there. I think he's still good, right? Like, I don't think that he's the problem here. I don't know why you wouldn't just trade Alvin Kamara, just given the state of the team right now. 30 years old. I'll be nice. Let's go tier 2 with the running back room. Probably would like a better running back 2 than Keandre Miller, but that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. I mean, Kamara's still a really good player, but
yeah,
he just turned 30. And he had just around 300 touches last year between receptions and carries. I mean, that's a dangerous number regardless. I mean, he's over 1,500 carries for his career, 500 receptions for his career. I mean, sooner or later, you think the legs are going to start going. When he doesn't have a great offensive line and they're not respecting the passing game, it's just going to get a lot harder for him. So I think I could see him having a poor season statistically, and it's just not his fault that they're just not going to respect the downfield threat with Spencer Rattler throwing the ball.
Yeah, might not be a great offense. Kyle, you brought up I think we can kind of move ahead with the Saints just because of, again, the situation right now. But I forgot to put the banner up. Here we go. Sorry, Saints fans. We've been talking about your team for the past 6 minutes. If you're just tuning in now,
I'm not sure they want to see the banner.
Yeah, maybe not. Kyle, you brought up that you like this secondary. I like pieces of this secondary, right? I think the safety stuff is good. Julian Blackmon, Jordan Howden, Justin Reed. I like Coy McKinstry. I want to see what he can do in a second season. I do think like the other corner spot, and really the other 2 corner spots, I have some concerns about. You have Isaac Yiadom, Alante Taylor, who did play over 1,000 snaps last year, was also PFF's lowest rated corner in those snaps. I don't love the rest of this. They drafted a guy in the 4th round. I don't love the rest of this corner room. So I'm going to go, again, corners weekly sport. I'm going to go tier 4 with this, even though if they get one corner to step it up, it could be a lot better.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it still is a bit of, It is the thing where it can get targeted, but I do like McKinstry. I like Reed. I like Blackman. Even though you're losing Tyrann Mathieu, I still think that's a pretty good starting spot there to work from. But yeah, I mean, they lose Paulson Adebo, and it definitely seems like they could use another body there for sure.
Yeah. The good news is they do have good linebackers. Demario Davis, one of the most underrated players in football. Pete Warner as well is in there. And then for the round out this defense, the front seven, Chase Young, Carl Granderson, two very good players who probably don't get a lot of attention. Chase Young kind of is written off as a bust. He's only 26 years old. Chase Young.
Mm-hmm.
He has still plenty of career left in him, perhaps. Cam Jordan is, at the tail end of his career, but still someone who can make a big play if you need him to every now and then. For the interior, Dathan Shepard, Devon Godshaw, Byron Brissy, not striking fear into your hearts if you're going up against that currently. Tier 3 pass rush, and I think I don't know. We'll go tier 4 run defense. They do have good edge players and good linebackers, but this is not a great team, Kyle.
No, the defense still has some work to be done. I mean, there's a lot that's still. I mean, this front seven has even been depleted at this point, and I mean, it's just an interesting thing. We've talked about the Saints for a number of years now of why are they doing this? Why are they, we talk so much about their cap situation, how often they were kicking the can down the road. Well, at least you could say, hey, we had a halfway decent quarterback. If we get to the playoffs, we could see what happens, whether it was older Drew Brees or whether it was Derek Carr, and then not to mention, you have this insanely good fan base that you want to have behind you. And, that could just, that I think that means a lot to this ownership group. I think having these fans engaged and, at least a part of the situation is a big thing for them. But I don't know. I just keep looking at this team like, yes, you don't need to sell every good player you have when you want to tank, especially in the NFL where things can turn in a hurry. But I just look at the opportunities they probably had to sell some of these guys. Like, how is Alvin Kamara still on this team at this point? What is the value of having a good running back on a team with this level even doing for you? Demario Davis is a really good player, and I think he would get a lot on the market still, even at 36, or at least a decent haul on the market for a 36-year-old player.
At least like a second-round pick, yeah.
Yeah, Cameron Jordan's still worth something, I think. Even Carl Granderson I would consider putting on the table. All those guys are on this team now, and, I just – even the most optimistic Saints fan has to say this isn't getting any further than like 6-7 wins. I can't imagine someone saying this is a borderline playoff team. I don't see the argument for it. And I just feel like you're keeping all of this aging roster, aging players that have been with this team for so long, which is great to see one team career guys, but like, I just don't see the end game here. What do you want these guys for? And what is the plan going forward for this franchise?
Yeah. I mean, the good news for Saints fans is it seems like they finally should get like a top 5 pick here instead of like just picking like, 9th every year. Like it seems like the year you could potentially actually get another quarterback since Breeze. That's got to be the logic, and I think the hope is maybe Shuck or Rattler can develop. But yeah, I mean it's a weird. They're not a good team. I mean it is what it is. You're right. They need to be getting more draft picks. Even if you're getting like a 5th round pick for Cam Jordan, like that's still a draft pick who then can be a cheap player for the next 4 years. Like, yeah, they should be doing a bit more than they are to rebuild, probably.
Yeah, it just feels like you can get a little more aggressive. Like you said, this offensive line definitely has potential. I wouldn't be surprised if this offensive line actually plays really well, and all of a sudden we're saying at the end of the season like, this is one of the better offensive lines in the league heading next season. But that's still in theory. And you can at least get behind that. You can get behind, maybe some of these young receivers, all that kind of stuff. And then the other element of this too is I'm not sure when he's actually supposed to be back. You're not getting that Taysom Hill element in your offense to start the year because he's still coming off that torn ACL. And so you don't even have that. And that's been a huge part of your offensive success the last couple of years. All the memes about Taysom Hill, but he's a valuable player to this team, and now he's not there either. So lot of issues for the Saints, I think, for sure.
Yeah. 2-15 is my prediction. Worst record out of any of these teams that we've gone over. I just don't think that they're, it is what it is. Kyle, let's guess the poll prediction. How many people are saying the Saints will win the NFC South?
It's got to be like 4%.
5%, kind of high for the Saints. Give Saints fans some credit. 5% are still saying like, yeah, we got this.
Yeah, they're there. The fans are out in full force. I give them the respect, but yeah, I think it's going to be a tough season for that 5%.
Yeah. Michael says, all right, guys, tell us why you hate the Panthers. Michael telling us to move on. Let's move on, Kyle. Is it the Panthers, or are you getting bold? Do you have a different team finishing third in the NFC South?
Michael, you're going to have to wait a little bit. Let's go to the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow.
I got the Falcons finishing third. Look, I like James Pierce as a prospect. They got in the first round. And in a certain aspect, I like Jalen Walker too. That being said, one of those guys has to play like an absolute star, I think, for this defense to work out. And I'm not sure I'm ready for that to happen just yet. I think this pass rush is the worst in football right now. I think this defense could be bad because of it again. And then you're turning around and asking a young quarterback in Michael Penix, who showed flashes last year, played very well in those last few games to end the season, to basically carry a offensive-oriented team to a lot of wins. And I just don't see that happening. I got the Falcons finishing third because of it. I think this defense is bad, and I think it's a sinking ship with that. And also the aspect of I don't trust the head coach for this situation, and Raheem Morris. So I got the Falcons third. I think there's too many issues right now, even if I like the offense.
Interesting. Okay, well, we'll get into it. I mean, I understand this is a this is a team that has things going for it, has things going against it. Both of those things are in the quarterback situation with Michael Penix Jr., who really the Falcons are doing whatever they can to not play him. They did not, drafted him intending to sit him for a couple of years, even when it was clearly the option to go to him. They hung on to Cousins too long, finally threw him in there, and he played well in 3 games. He's now still not played preseason. I don't get what Raheem Morris's deal is about not playing Michael Penix in the preseason, but nonetheless, you have to assume there's going to be some rookie mistakes there. You have to assume he's going to be a bit of a, there's going to be a developmental period. He also did look really good in those 3 games. It's just 3 games, but for now, I mean, if I have to give Penix a tier, I guess like tier 4 because he's an unknown, but there is a lot of potential with Michael Penix, and he could be a lot better than that. And this team is going to kind of live or die by the young quarterback who, again, I like coming out of college and did show flashes in his first season.
He definitely showed flashes. I think there is arm talent there, and there's reasons to be excited. However, I don't want to play the schedule guy all the time, or, I think it's a little unfair for projection purposes, but you look at the schedule too. You got Michael Penix coming out. You're starting against Tampa Bay week 1, just over a week from today. You got Minnesota, who's a playoff team in week 2, one of the best teams in football last season. You're at Carolina week 3. You get Washington week 4, who was the NFC championship team. You get your bye week, and then you play Buffalo week 6. Like you're throwing him into the fire against some of the best teams in the league. And 3 of those teams have pretty good defenses, and then Washington you're asking him to score with too. So he has got to be, like you said, he's not getting a preseason, which is bizarre for a guy with so little snaps and so little opportunities, I think, in the NFL. I would have liked to see him get some snaps because he is going in there and he is going to have to come out guns blazing. So that's what I'm really concerned about with that. But I think he has talent, and I'm okay with it. I just think that the management of this situation has not gone the way I would have wanted.
Yeah, and weeks 1 and 2 also, Todd Bolson and Brian Flores. I mean, just like you're going to see stuff that he's not used to. They did play the Commanders tight. Remember, it came down to they had a chance where it was a weird timeout management by Raheem Morris that kind of cost them that game in a sense, and maybe would have let them get into the playoffs. Let's talk about our guy.
A lot of games like that too. It ended up not meaning anything, but that Carolina game at the end of the season they kind of botched too. They had that Los Angeles game, the Chargers earlier in the year, they kind of botched, and they had the Kansas City game they could have won at the end too. All of these put together, you could have easily seen this Falcons team in the playoffs last season, but
they also had a ton of weird wins though. Like both Tampa Bay games were like weird. Like there's the overtime game, and then the Kyle Pitts seemingly fumbled at the goal line, but they didn't have an angle to show it, so the call stood, and even that Eagles game where Saquon drops the ball. So it felt like the wrong team won every game the Falcons played last year.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's It's an interesting team, but yeah, I think Raheem Morris has to prove a lot to me this year, and I want to see that happen.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's like horrible game in and game out, but there's just too many bad decisions. That kind of baffling. We'll see if he can get better. I liked him when he was the coach of Tampa Bay back in the day, so we'll see if he can improve upon some of those things. Kyle, yeah, I mean, let's go to the clear positive with this team. The at least a clear positive. The receiving core is very good. Drake London, whatever you want to make of Kyle Pitts, he's still an effective receiving tight end. I don't know when you should draft him in fantasy. Don't ask me. But he's still effective. Drake London's awesome. Drake London's the number one receiver. Like fringe top 10 guy, maybe just straight up top 10 guy. He's really underrated. Darnell Mooney also was a really good number 2 option last year. I mean, I think that like I would ideally like one more guy before I put it into tier 1, but it's high tier 2, and even like Bijan and Tyler Algier can can catch. Also, obvious tier 1 running back room. So a lot of weapons here.
Yeah. Lot to work with here. And hey, Ray-Ray McCloud's not a terrible third receiver. He had 680 yards last season. I think that's at least something you could have too. Yeah, I like this group a lot. Drake London's a stud. This is someone I've been very excited about. He had 100 catches last year, 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. Really the breakout season. It seems like he came to his own. And honestly, like the biggest thing about Michael Penix, he said down the stretch, was Drake London was ridiculous those last 3 games when Michael Penix played. He was really good, especially down those last 2 games where he had over 100 yards in his final 2 games, including Week 18, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns. They didn't get the win, but he was awesome. I really like him. I like Mooney, too, as the number 2 guy. And then, like you said, they have a bunch of other guys across the roster that are pretty interesting. Kyle Pitts is fine. And then you have this running back room, which is debatably the best tandem in the league. I mean, like, you draft Bijan Robinson, and I think he's been very good. You can debate the pick all you want, but he's been a very good player. He's one of the top 5 running backs in football. And then you can still give it to Tyler Algier, who I think is a very good player in his own right. So a lot of skill position here, and that's why this team's going to be fun.
Yeah, Algier might be the best change of pace back in the league, of just like a big guy who just tough. After you finally can catch up to Bijan, then you can just put a guy who's just going to run you over.
Yeah, he's definitely going to steal some touchdowns. He's going to make some plays happen. I think a lot of teams would be happy with him as their number 1 back.
Kyle, on paper, this offensive line looked really good, right? You have Caleb McGarry and Jake Matthews. Okay, that's an awesome tackle tandem. Matthew Bergeron, Chris Lindstrom. Okay, really good guard tandem. Chris Lindstrom, he might be a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. He's really a good player. Ryan Nzua is the center. Okay, that's not the strongest spot, but you can deal with an okay center if you have the rest of the pieces. Caleb McGarry out for the year with an injury. That there's no getting around it. That's tough. It looks like Elijah Wilkinson, I'm assuming, is going to be the guy who's going to step in. He's been a veteran player who's had okay seasons, but really he's a backup for a reason. He's probably going to give backup caliber snaps. That really hurts this offensive line. So I think I don't know. I'm going to drop this all the way down to tier 4. I mean, you have two bad spots right here. Even if I like the other 3 guys a lot, like that doesn't do much when it's offensive line.
Yeah. Couple hits in the armor there that you were, this group has just been rock solid for the last few seasons, but you lose your starting center in Dahlman, and that was already a weak link. And then, like you said, you lose McGarry, and that's a big question mark as well. Chris Lindstrom might be the best interior offensive lineman in football right now. And I don't think that's necessarily a hyperbole. I think he is that good. And he is very impactful for this team. But, like you said, this is also a weak link position, and there's 2 weak links now. And how are these other guys going to step up and make it happen? I think they got a superstar in that position, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough.
Right. And again, keep in mind, Michael Penix, left-handed quarterback. So that means that the right tackle matters. That's the left tackle here.
Yeah, that's true.
So that makes it even worse. Let's talk about the defense. You brought this up, Kyle. Let me push back a little bit. Is it possible this defense could actually be better than we're expecting? You have Jesse Bates, who wasn't quite as good last year as he was 2 years ago when he was awesome, but still is a very good player. They drafted Xavier Watts. You have AJ Terrell. And then there's players who it's like, okay, could one of Mike Hughes, D. Alfred, Clark Phillips III, could one of those guys be able to step up and, and just be solid at the other corner position? Could the secondary actually end up being better than, certainly than it was last year?
There's definitely a case for it. Mike Hughes was okay last season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a case for it. But like, I don't know.
think
He's always
just
been kind of
step in with Mike Hughes. I think they're going to have him play outside here, right? So I'm a little interested in. I feel like he's always been at his best when he's slot, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you have that, and you have AJ Terrell. I mean, both of those guys are, AJ Terrell was not that good last season. And I don't think it was all his fault, but at the same time, I think just individually in coverage, he had some struggles. And yeah, I think that's the big question is like, I think Jesse Bates, no matter what, is solid. You got a rookie at free safety. And then I think you got two good corners when they're right. But at the same time, those guys have both been kind of frustratingly inconsistent at times in their careers. Even if you had the highs of an AJ Terrell, who at times has played like an elite corner, I think he's been up and down in his career. And then Mike Hughes has been solid at times and then really bad at times. So how all that's going to work is going to be interesting. But yeah, I am a little concerned about that. And you don't really have the linebacker support and coverage, I think, to help it out either. Caden Ellis is a good player, but it's just a little too many holes for me and too many question marks.
Not buying into the Divine Diablo breakout season?
No.
Okay. No, well, maybe. We'll see. The rest of the front seven: Contavious Street, Zach Harrison, David Onyemata, also Rook Rowe. There's a lot of rows in there. Interior is solid. Interior is actually maybe better than people realize. The edge stuff obviously has been an issue like forever. You have James Pierce Jr., you have Jalen Walker, 2 first-round picks. Pierce Jr. seems like kind of more of an NFL-ready guy. Walker's a total developmental guy. So we're going to see what we get out of these guys. Leonard Floyd, Arnold Ebiketie, that's fine for depth if Pierce and Walker can be starters, but can they be that right away? Seems like a lot to ask of these guys stepping into things. So tier 3 run defense, I like the interior enough. Tier 4 pass rush.
Yeah, tier 4 might be optimistic, honestly. I would have a tier 5. I like Leonard Floyd.
I mean, if Pierce and Walker can be something, I feel like it's better than that's my thought.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely it. They have to be something because Leonard Floyd is in the definition of fine, and Arnold Ebiketie is just not my cup of tea. So yeah, you have those two options, and you have those 2 young players. Those 2 young players have to be ready to play though, and otherwise, I mean, this was a tough group last season. I think it really affected the secondary, and I think you're asking a lot for 2 young guys to step in and do that right away.
Yeah, you are, but it's a lot better than what they've been dealing with. At least there's an option here with the Atlanta Falcons. Kyle, I'm not crazy about this Falcons roster either. I don't hate them. I'm just not too into them. I'm going to go 8 and 9 for this. I kind of agree with your assessment of like there's a lot of question marks offensively, and the whole defense is the question mark right now. Like this is a team that we talked about the 49ers last week about how like there's just so many what if this happens, what if this happens, what if this happens. But at least that it feels like if everything hits, they're like awesome. For the Falcons, it feels like if everything hits, they're like pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, at least the 49ers hitting involves like Christian McCaffrey staying healthy.
Right.
And like Brandon Ayuk returning to form when he's healthy too. Like those are things I'd probably bet on happening. They have some superstar talent in the skill position, but like outside of that, like there's just too many unknowns as far as the interior and the defense that, it's not like you're saying like if this superstar is healthy and ready to go. They have a couple guys that I think are absolute stars, but there's just not enough talent on it to make up for it like a San Francisco could.
Yeah. Kyle, guess the percentage of people who predicted the Falcons to win the NFC South.
14%.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Weird. You sound like you're about to say 7 and then doubled it.
No, I was about to say 17 actually. But,
okay.
I decided to dip it down a little bit. So 14 was right.
Yep, 14, right on the money. Again, Kyle, you're you're amazing at this. Like you're at the point where you have to start throwing some just so people don't think you're cheating, even though you're not.
Yeah, I got a finger to the pulse, man. That is what it is.
It really is impressive, actually, how consistently like right on you are.
I swear I'm not cheating.
I believe
Don't
you.
accuse
No,
me. Yeah.
I know. It's just it's remarkable.
Yeah, it is funny. But yeah, yeah, I mean, look, if you're a Falcons fan and are more optimistic, I see the argument. Um, I think there is a case for this team to be pretty good next season. And that also just involves Michael Penix being very good.
Yeah.
But like we need to see it. And I think my biggest thing when I was put them third in the Panthers, who I'm talking about next second, was
Spoiler.
that I know, spoiling. Um, I trust Bryce Young a little bit more right now. I think he played better for a longer stretch.
Well, let's get into it. Yeah. I mean, I think the two most important people at each organization, Dave Canales. I'm gonna go tier 3. He's great at getting quarterbacks that haven't been playing good to play good. We'll see how he can kind of do the rest of it. I mean, the team was so bad last year. I don't hold the record against him. But Bryce Young, I think I'm going to go tier 3. I'm not going to get too crazy and give him tier 2 just yet, but I don't think it's impossible that it happens. In fact, I mean, to me, Bryce Young, as of right now, clearly the second best quarterback in this division.
Yeah, you just go from when they went to that Munich game in Kansas City on to the rest of the season. His yards per attempt were way up. I mean, he was going once again. It was close to like 3-4. I mean, he had games with 3 yards per attempt early in the season, and you look at the second half of the season, it's all like 7. He's in the 7s range. He had 11 touchdowns to 3 interception from that Kansas City game on November 24th to the end of the season. Some really good games down the stretch. That Atlanta game down the stretch that I referenced, he was awesome. Took Arizona to overtime in a win and was awesome in that game. Just some awesome stuff down the stretch and real development for a guy that, it was scary at one point. It looked like it was on the way out, and he battled and he persevered, and they haven't done him a lot of favors with his receiver room, but he's managed to figure it out and do the best he can in the situation.
Yeah. Let's just go right there to the receivers because Kyle, Jonathan Tepper-McMillan, really enjoy that. I think he's a really good player. What's going on with this Adam Thielen thing?
Yeah, I don't love it. I mean, it's hard to love it. I mean, like, look, you could say the age and you get a 4th round pick for a guy who is older and probably not worth a 4th round pick as it is. But at the same time, like, he was the most dependable guy for Bryce Young the last 2 seasons. So you're asking, you saw a little bit from Jalen Coker last year. You get a little bit excited about that. You got a couple tight ends who you think can make up for the red zone stuff in Jatavian Sanders and Tommy Tremble. But even then, that's not enough to really get you excited for what Adam Thielen was doing last season. And like I said, he was the security blanket a lot for Bryce Young. And that sounds like something that's contrived, but it's not easy to quantify that sort of impact, even if he's not like an elite player anymore, which he's not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've seen 1,000 different explanations. I tweeted out like I don't really love this move, and like I got a lot of pushback. Surprisingly, I didn't think it would be that surprising. I kind of thought like we were all kind of would agree with that. I didn't realize that Panthers fans seemingly are okay with the move. But yeah, I mean, they get a 4th back. They also are going to probably move back in the 5th round because they're trading 5th round picks with the Vikings, and then they're also giving up a 7th, so it's a little less than a 4th. But yeah, I mean. The main thing is like, okay, Ted McMillan should be really good. He also is a rookie. I like Jalen Cocker. We'll see what he can do. 430 snaps last year. Did look pretty good in them. Xavier Legette had over 600. Didn't look great in those. You have David Moore as well. And you brought up the tight ends, Tommy Tremble and Jatavian Sanders. I mean, on paper, this is a tier 5 receiving room. It has potential to be more than that, but I can't just give you more, like they need Ted McMillan to basically be a tier 1 wide receiver right away. He might do that, and that would change things a little bit. But even if it does, I don't know if that puts them ahead of like, I don't know if that's like maybe tier 3 if they reach their potential, but probably still tier 4. I guess unless Xavier Legette has a breakout year too. Just on paper, I just think that like having just another guy who you can trust to do okay would have been helpful. But maybe maybe they don't trust him to do okay anymore. I don't know. But just in general, well, not crazy about this receiving room.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about it either. I do like Jalen Coker a lot. I think he's a good player, and I think McMillan has a ton of potential. He is that big play threat. He can make things happen. So I like those two in theory, but like you said, it's still kind of in theory. Jalen Coker was a undrafted player last season who had a pretty good season. So you're asking a lot for him now to step in as the number 2 guy on this team. So yeah, I think it is still a lot of developmental aspects of this, but I like him. I like the tight ends. I think they can do a little bit. If you get anything out of McMillan, that's a bonus. And then, you're hoping, I mean, there's still a lot of young players on this team too. Like you look at like Jimmy Horn Jr., he did some things in Colorado. You hope maybe there's something there. Xavier Legette, you didn't get anything from last season. You hope maybe there's something there. You got to hope one of these other young guys, along with McMillan, has to hit. That's the first aspect. And then you hope one of these other young guys becomes a dependable third guy, essentially.
Yeah, a lot of question marks that I feel like whatever value you're getting out of, I feel like you could, sometimes it's okay to not maximize value on something to help develop your young quarterback. One thing that will help develop this young quarterback, Kyle, is the offensive line. I mean, Akeem Ekwonu, Taylor Motton for the tackles, Damian Lewis, Robert Hunt for the guards. You have Austin Corbett, who has battled with injuries. Looks like he's going to be the starter, but you also have Brady Christensen and Cade Mays if he does go down. Tier 1, is that too high? I like it a lot. I think this is really good.
Yeah, I really liked it. I really like this group a lot. I think Ekwonu had a lot of development last season. I think he's going to be a good left tackle. And then this interior is rock solid. And you got Taylor Motton on the right, who's also very good. So not a lot of weak links there. You got Motton, who's a stud. You got Hunt, who's a stud. No notes. I think it's really good.
Yeah. Running back room's fine. I mean, Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, Jonathan Brooks, not going to light the world on fire, nothing. But, solid players here. Tier 3.
Watch out for Trevor Etienne, man. I think
okay.
He's got some juice. I think he dipped in the draft because his brother is had a frustrating time in Jacksonville.
Okay, well, listen, maybe, 4th round pick from this past draft. We'll see, but I'm not going to bump him up for that just yet. But we will see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm just saying, keep an eye out.
Yeah. That is the Panthers offense, really unique offense with some really good pieces and some not so good pieces. Then you have the defense, which does have pieces here. This is not something you look through this. This is not a disaster. We can talk about, did they spend too much for Trayvon Moorhig and all that stuff, but you know what? He'll be a fine safety for them. They could probably use another safety. You have, Nick Scott slated as the other starter currently. For the corners, you have JC Horn, who's very good. And then it's like, could you get something out of, they added Mike Jackson. And it's like, could you get something out of him potentially this year? Could you just get him to be like a solid contributor? This secondary might actually end up sneakily being okay this year if things work out the way that they want them to.
Yeah. Listen, I know Mike Jackson can be a little handsy at times, but no, I'm just kidding. Okay. Look, I really like this thing. I like the idea of this group. I mean, this is the thing we wanted Washington to do this offseason, right? Like they had so much cap space, and you're like, you know what? You may overpay for a few players, but just get better players in the building and just start there. Moorhig is a better player than what they had. So I think it is at least a step in the right direction. I like that for sure. And then, I really like JC Horn. I thought he was the best corner in his draft class. I thought he plays really well when he's healthy, but he's another guy who's when he's healthy. So, you're going to have to see how that works out, but I think there is potential there for this. The upside of this group is definitely there. So I like that.
Yeah. Kyle, for the front 7, so Derrick Brown's going to be healthy, and that's a huge deal. Derrick Brown, one of the best players in football. He missed basically all of last year. That was obviously a big part of it. The issue is that for a front 7, you need 6 other players, and that's where things get a little bit shaky for the Carolina Panthers front 7. Don't love this linebacking room of Trayvon Wallace, Christian Roseboom. I don't love this interior with they added Tershawn Wharton, who, again, fine player. Bobby Brown, fine player. Ashawn Robinson, fine player, but this is not, nothing spectacular there. And then for the edge players, they, Princey, Nick Scornton, couple of guys they drafted 2nd and 3rd round picks, and they probably are going to need those guys to play these significant playing time this season. I mean, Derrick Brown is good enough. I'll bump them up to tier 3 run defense with basically him alone. And there are some other pieces here, but this is tier 5 pass rush.
Yeah, pass rush is going to be a problem. Um, they at least have bodies in the interior, and I do
Yeah.
respect that. Like we've seen Robertson be a pretty good player, right? Robinson, what am I doing? Ashawn Robinson has been a pretty good player in the interior, like you said. Derek Brown, Tershawn Wharton, you got a few options there. Like I think my vision for the Panthers is like, what if they're just good at a few things? Like, what if they're just good at stopping the run, running the football, using their offensive line, and then Bryce Young continues to play like Bryce Young he did in the second half of the season, use him in play action, use him in different situations to get him moving a little bit more. And then all of a sudden it's like, what if you're just good at a couple things and all of a sudden you can scrap your way to 7 wins? That's kind of my vision here for the Panthers. And I do think there's potential there, pretty good run defense with of course, Derek Brown has to be healthy because he is a all pro.
Yeah. No, I don't think the Panthers will be horrible this year. I'm going to go 7-10 is my prediction for them. I still think the Falcons are a little better. I would have those two teams flipped, but like again, I think the Panthers are still probably a year away right here. I still think they just need more in the receiving room. They need, a couple more defensive pieces, and all these new defensive pieces aren't going to hit as well is part of the issue. So we're going to figure out more question marks, but they're in the rebuilding process. It kind of sucks that they rebuild through the entirety of Bryce Young's rookie contract, but like it is what it is. Like you're building up, and I'm a Bryce Young believer. I think people really do not realize how good Bryce Young was once he came back from getting benched last year. So we'll see. I think they'll be much more of an exciting watch, and they're a pretty good watch towards the end of the year last year with their bad defense and good offense. I could see similar stuff happening.
Yeah, I definitely see the vision for this team. I like them a lot, and I like pieces of it a lot. I do think it is still a kind of a rebuild. It may just end up being that was more of a Falcons thing than a Panthers thing for me. But like, yeah, I mean, I think you had the Falcons at 8 wins and the Panthers at 7 wins. So like 1 win apart, I don't think it's crazy. Like I think that they could very much be in the mix for the same spots in the standings. And yeah, I like Bryce Young, and like if McMillan hits right away and is at least a good steady receiver, then all of a sudden you got a team that could be pretty interesting offensively and has a few nice pieces defensively to build around.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. What would you rank? What are your like? Give a record for these two teams so I can kind of get where your head's at.
I would go. I mean, I'd probably both have them around 7 wins.
Okay,
so it could just be down to a tiebreaker. So let's go. Just because I don't want to do ties because that's boring. Let's go 8-9 Panthers, 7-10 Falcons.
Okay,
I'll flip your predictions.
The nearly 500 Carolina Panthers. Well, we'll see, Kyle. How many people were even higher on the Panthers than you and said that they are going to not finish second in the NFC South, but finish first?
It's got to be low. I imagine it's going to be like 7-8%.
8%, Kyle. There you go. Once again, no one can do this like you.
We're on fire. Yeah, I mean, but you still have time to get on the Panthers 8-9 bandwagon. I'm right there, baby.
Okay, I'll go. Let's stay at 7 for now. But I'm a Panthers hater, so we'll see.
Yeah, 7 wins. I still feel like Panthers fans would be pretty excited as long as Bryce plays well. I feel like Panthers fans would still be pretty excited with 7 wins.
Yeah. Michael says, I actually agreed with the vast majority of this. Yeah, we try to be fair. I mean, I feel like, me criticizing the Panthers a lot isn't because of what they've done in the past 10 years. They started to do some good things this past, year or two.
Listen, if you want me to defend David Tepper's actions the last few years, you're not getting it on this podcast. That's for sure.
Yeah, I overshot with 10 years. 10 years ago, they were in the Super Bowl. Anyway, let's Kyle, number one. Another team that has been in the Super Bowl in the past 10 years, the Buccaneers. My team, we both have them finishing first. I guess I spoiled my prediction that everyone knew would happen. Kyle, why do you think the Buccaneers will win the NFC South?
I think this team's really good. I think they have a lot of talent. I think they have one of the deeper receiver rooms in the NFL right now. I think they got 4 guys that can really depend upon. I think we saw Bucky Irving emerge into a really stud running back. I think this offense should be top 5 in the league next season. And you look at the defense that had moments last season, endured a lot of injuries. That happens. You got to overcome it at some point. They overcame it a little bit, but I think that this defense, when healthy, is going to be very good. And then you look at their biggest weakness last season, which was getting after the quarterback. They had a guy, it's a risk. They had a guy in Hassan Reddick that I think is going to be very good at that. So I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers not only winning this division, I think they are a Super Bowl contender. I think they can win the NFC.
Cool. Well, I hope that you're right, Kyle. I think the real bright spot of this team, there's a lot to talk about, but the Baker Mayfield emergence with Tampa Bay, I thought that he was really incredible last year, did put the ball in harm's way too much, but also really kind of, he's won Tampa Bay games in these 2 years that he has been there. We discussed it a bit in our quarterback rankings, but tier 2 quarterback for me, Baker Mayfield. He's not quite the top tier, obviously, but I think he's better than tier 3 guys because he does seem like someone who can, even when things aren't going well, find a way to drive an offense. The criticism is sometimes he can't, like why I put Jalen Hurts ahead of Baker Mayfield on the power ranking is because Hurts can kind of say, okay, we need to, I need to just hand the ball off and make the safe throws. Baker doesn't always have that in him, and that's kind of, I think, the knock, but he can do everything else so well. Tier 2 quarterback play for the Buccaneers.
Yeah. I think he's good. You look at last season, he had 71% completion percentage, 4,500 passing yards, 41 passing touchdowns. If you just said 71% completion percentage, 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, and said that's a starting quarterback, you're probably just looking at those numbers and saying that's a top 5 guy in the league. He was that good last season. I thought he was terrific. I thought he was he was outside the top 3 or 4 guys for sure, but I think he was a kind of fringe MVP candidate, if you will, with those kind of numbers. I thought he was awesome, and he does really well in this offense. Does he have a lot of weapons that make it easy for him? Absolutely, but, we're not going to apologize for that. He's doing really well in this system. They've changed offensive coordinators multiple years. They're doing it again, and he's still persevered and gotten better year to year. So I really like this, and they improved backup quarterback with Teddy Bridgewater, so I like that too.
Yeah, poor Kyle Trask. Derek in the chat says that I have put, it seems like 15 guys in the tier 2 quarterback tier. I've done that with a couple. I think offensive line. I also have like a dozen tier 1s there. Like I don't know. No, please nobody count this because I know some of it's going to be weird. But yeah, Kyle, Todd Bowles, I've been critical of in the past and probably too much so, or at least maybe he's gotten better. I don't know, maybe a combination of the two, because he does do a lot of really good stuff with the just the coaching aspect of stuff, right? Like he gets he develops players well. Like he is, I still think, a very good X's and O's guy, even if last year was a mess. I put that more into personnel than him. Has improved a lot with game management. Tier 3 head coach. I'm not mad at Todd Bowles as my head coach. Are there better coaches? Sure, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
And he's great at hiring offensive coordinators.
Yeah, that's the big thing for me. If he keeps hitting on the offensive coordinators, because we saw the year he didn't hit on the offensive coordinator with Byron Leftwich, it looked bad. If he keeps hitting on them, then all of a sudden it's going to be better just by default. So I don't remember the name of the new offensive coordinator off the top of my head, but
Grizzard.
He has to hit.
Grizzard. I don't know how to pronounce it. Grizzard or Gizzard, one of the two.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, he, if they hit on that again, then I trust Todd Bowles at least to keep the ship going in the right direction. That's all that matters.
Yeah. I agree. Let's go to the wide receiver room, Kyle, which is again banged up right now. That is the concern, and I do kind of have to factor that in. But Chris Godwin should be back sooner rather than later. Obviously, Mike Evans is Mike Evans. They added Emeka Egbuka, which, training camp reports are not canon, right? But, it seems like every single training camp report is Emeka Egbuka is the greatest player to ever play football. So we'll see how that goes. But he did look very good in preseason. Jalen McMillan's banged up for the first half of the year. He should be good for the second half at the very least. Also, the Tej Johnson has been the training camp, the preseason hero, 7th round pick. I don't know how much you can have confidence in that. K. Dotton, a very good receiving tight end as well. It's yes, there's injuries, but this is a tier 1 receiving room.
Yeah, there's a ton of depth here. You can survive even Jalen McMillan being out, and he was really good down the stretch of the year too. At times, you have K. Dotton who can catch the ball. You have Evans and once you start with Evans and Godwin, that's going to be tier 3 at minimum probably. And you have good players at 3, 4, 5, 6 in this receiving room too. And that's not even getting to my favorite player in this offense who was electric last season. And that's the running back who can absolutely catch the ball and make plays out of the backfield too. So that even adds to this offense. You have 5, 6, 7 guys you have to put on your scouting report to prepare for. And I think that's what's really dangerous about this team.
Yeah, Bucky Irving, as you mentioned, was so good last year. Not just being able to run, but being able to, like create space for himself. Plays that weren't open, he was able to still find ways to get through. You can't catch out of backfield. He could not block. That is just not his game. But you have Rashad White, who's a really good blocking and pass catching running back. So they're perfect complementary guys of Bucky Irving, this incredible rusher. White, great at the other stuff, and still can run. And then you have Sean Tucker as the number 3 running back on top of it. It's tier 2 just because like there are probably 5 running backs better than Bucky Irving, right? Like is he on Derrick Henry's level? Okay, I guess not. But like this is really exciting stuff in the running back room.
Yeah, I mean if he's over 1,100 yards, 5 yards to carry, and 8 touchdowns again next season, I mean is he tier 1? Is that crazy?
Yeah. No, it's not great. I mean, it's totally in the cards. I just, again, I think is it top 5 right now? I'm just going to say no, but you're right. It's totally possible. They are losing Liam Cohen, who was very good at scheming stuff open, but no, I'm expecting him to be very good this year.
Yeah, and like you said, even like Sean Tucker as a number 3 back is not a bad situation. So really good group overall, really good skill positions, and that's where you get really excited. And with Baker Mayfield running the ship and running the show, and you've been able to put your trust in him, I see no reason to doubt this team as far as moving the football.
Yeah. Offensive line, Kyle. So Tristan Wirfs is going to miss some time. I'm also not crazy about Ben Bredesen, so I'm not going to go tier 1. But Luke Gadecki, Cody Mock, you also have Graham Barton, who I think I'm hoping to see him improve in year 2. But I thought it was actually better than PFF had him as one of the lower rated centers. I thought it was all right last year. I think tier 2 offensive line, which once it gets healthy can be closer to tier 1 than tier 2 perhaps.
Yeah, you definitely need Wirfs out there. I guess he was just activated, so I'm assuming he's probably going to miss the first game just to kind of ramp up or be on a limited count. We'll see how that looks. But
I would guess it'd probably be around 3 or 4 games he's going to miss. That, not based on anything, but that's just what I've been hearing.
Yeah, I guess that's not shocking at all. But you have the Jets in that mix too. You should be able to win a couple of these games even without him. I think that is that's a really good group when he's out there. I mean, he's a star, so when he's out there, like you're going to be fine. But it's still pretty good beyond that.
The really good stuff here with this offense. The offense was loaded last year, even with injuries. It was able to put up points. The defense was an issue, and calling it an issue doesn't really begin to tell the story of what it was, because it was bad last year. They have done a lot to improve upon this, not with a first-round pick, but with a lot of other picks. Really, the secondary I'm so fascinated by, because you have Zion McCollum and Jamel Dean, who, I think the criticism of Jamel Dean is he gets paid a good amount of money. He gets put in to be corner 1 and doesn't always come out on top when he's trying to cover the best guys in the league, right? He's probably better suited as a great number 2 corner than a number 1 corner, but he's still 28. He's still an effective player. And he also gets banged up a ton. It's not necessarily big injuries, but it seems like he misses time left and right. So they finally said, you know what? Let's add some depth here. Let's get Benjamin Morrison and also Jacob Parrish, who's going to be the nickel corner, 3rd-round pick out of Kansas State. So again, they really liked him. Another one of those training camp guys who it seems like everyone's going crazy over. We'll see moving Christian Izzian to safety. Antoine Winfield, who was hurt all of last year, but we know what he can do when healthy. I'm excited about this secondary. I really am. And also Levante David is in the mix. Would like another linebacker here, but tier 2 coverage for me. I still don't know if they have a great lockdown number 1, and we still have some rookies that are going to have to come in and play. So that's some question marks, but a lot of good players here as well.
Yeah, you could definitely argue for tier 3 for me, just because when Winfield's probably the best guy, but there's not really a bona fide stud beyond that. But there is depth, like you said. We like depth here, especially in the cornerback spot. They have options to go to. Zion McCollum played well last season too. Jamel Dean was a solid player last season, so they have plenty of options there. I do like Benjamin Morrison a lot. I thought he was awesome at Notre Dame. You can go back and a couple of years and watch his highlights against Marvin Harrison Jr. And I thought he held up in that matchup. I thought he held up in a few other matchups in big games, and I think he's going to be a good player. So yeah, you have all that, and then also, like you said, it's not quite the same advantage of having Fred Warner, but you have a first, one of two first ballot Hall of Famers on this team right now, in Levante David, and he makes up for a lot still. Even at 35, he's going to make up for a lot in the middle of the field by just being Levante David and being so good in coverage.
Yeah, very good there. And Tampa Bay, they're going to do 1,000 different things to try and confuse opposing quarterbacks. Kyle, let's talk front seven now. We already brought up the linebackers. Vita Vea, obviously one of the best players in football. Then you have Clyde Chacansey, who we're still kind of waiting on seeing if he can take that next jump. As of right now, he really is just a good pass rusher and a bad run defender. Like, can he get at least either decent at run defense or like amazing at pass rush would be ideal heading into year 3. Greg Gaines and Logan Hall are both effective depth pieces. They always do a good job of having edge rushers who can stop the run. Todd Bowles really cares about stopping the run. Yaya Diaby is good at both run defense and pass rush. Like even like Anthony Nelson can be a good run defender. We'll see what we get out of Hassan Reddick. That's the biggest wild card right now. If he can step up and be, Eagles to Hassan Reddick, this looks like, this is an awesome defensive line. If he's not, this looks like a below average defensive line. They're going to stop the run well. Vita Vea, Levante David alone are going to do good stuff. And there's not just them alone. It's a tier 1 run defense for me, but tier 4 pass rush, which is probably the biggest difference we've had with a run defense and pass rush out of any of the teams we talked about.
Yeah, it's really good against the run, and it could be very good against the pass. Like you said, like with Cansey and with Diaby, like it's not going to be a disaster pass rush. You at least have a couple guys there that you think can get after the quarterback. And then, like you said, this team just felt like it had a Shaq Barrett-sized hole for the last couple of seasons that they've needed to replace. And then they go and get a guy in Hassan Reddick who they're buying low on. He didn't play well last season and obviously had a whole bunch of off-the-field things with the contract. All that played a part in it. If you get Hassan Reddick back, you're going to have an elite pass rush. And then you're going to have that with a very good run defense. And then all of a sudden you're looking at a top, potentially a top 5 offense in football and a top 10 defense in football, which is a rare thing to have. So I the potential of this group is definitely tantalizing, and that's what you're really excited about if you're Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and I am Tampa Bay, so I'm really excited, Kyle. This is a lot of fun. I'm excited for this season. I mean, this is one of the more exciting teams I have seen. I feel like since obviously, not too long ago, but like outside of those 2 Brady years that were amazing, he was there for 3 years. 2 of them were amazing. Like this feels like the most optimism we've had here in Tampa Bay. I'm in Orlando, but when I go to Tampa Bay, it seems like there's a lot of optimism as of right now. Like this could be a fun season.
What would you say is if we come back in January, and I'm not going to say this team missed the playoffs because I think they're going to win the division. But let's say this team fell below your expectations just in general. What do you think the reasoning for that would be in January?
Good question. Like let's say like they do what they did last year of win the division like with like 10 wins and then get knocked out round 1. And it's not like a shocking upset round 1 knock. It's just like a loss. I think probably the defense not being able, kind of being similar to what it was last year. The young guys not stepping up, and maybe like Levante David getting older. And then outside of injuries, that feels like the main way something like that happens.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think that's the right thing. So.
So I'm going 12-5 with this Bucs team. I think that they are, we'll get into it, but it feels like most people have the Eagles as clear-cut favorites. Even my records show that. And then it feels like there are several teams in the NFC that are potential challengers. I think the Buccaneers are one of those teams.
Absolutely. I think they're going to be in the mix. I think that there are a few teams in the NFC that are definitely in the mix as, I got some fun predictions. So we'll get into that and see where they end up in that mix.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, we have finally finished the previewing each team. Now let's get into the fun stuff. Do you want to do the awards first and then do the final team predictions and all that stuff? Or do you want to do that makes sense, right? To do it that way?
Yeah, I think that's very fair. So yeah, we can do the awards first. Do you want me to go first?
Well, sure. Let's go award by award. Why don't we? We'll save the MVP. Kyle, I forgot to mention, but I won our draft when we did the free agency draft this week. That happened because Amari Cooper went back to the Raiders, and I had that.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, so I saw my notes. I'm like, oh, I won. And then Rasul Douglas didn't sign with anyone we picked. So I ended up winning that well after the fact. Let's do the awards. Let's start off with just the weirdest one. Let's go to the Protector of the Year award. Who did you have winning that?
I had Creed Humphrey.
Okay, that's the worst take you've ever had on this show.
Wow.
Because of course she's going to deserve it, but like no one's gonna. I have Penei Sewell because like obviously like this award is not going to be who is actually the best offensive line in football.
Listen, I agree with you. It's probably going to be an offensive tackle every year and whatever. I have to stay true to myself, and that's what I'm doing here. But at the same time, like, you know, the Chiefs are going to be on TV a lot if they win a lot of games, and there's still a lot of distrust in that offensive line. Like, you're going to have all that, and you're going to have Creed Humphrey probably on TV, and they're going to highlight Creed Humphrey a lot. So I think that is probably why I'm going that way as a potential. If you want to go outside the box a little bit, not just take, you know, offensive tackle number one, I think that's where I'm going. Why not?
Okay, Kyle. I'd be shocked actually if Creed Humphrey gets more attention than Taylor Swift this season.
Well, I didn't say she was going to get that much, but I think, you know, you're going to get him on
when
CBS.
A non-player is going to
yeah.
get more attention than him.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor Swift's going to get more attention than 90% of the Chiefs team.
Okay, I think that the engagement itself will get more airtime than Creed Humphrey will.
That's probably fair. But look, I mean, we're going to have, listen, my guys, Tony Romo on the call, on the broadcaster in prime time, he's going to be like, you know, who's a great player making this happen? Creed Humphrey setting up that block. I believe in you, Tony. Let's make it happen.
Okay, maybe. Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata were my other two picks, just because I figured the Eagles' offensive line is going to be awesome. Like, that gets attention, right? So that's why I thought that as well.
Yeah. You could go. This is going to be such a weird award. I'm going to be very interested to see how it's voted because, I mean, there's going to be a lot of good candidates. You know, we mentioned Chris Lindstrom is a guy who I don't think will get any votes because of where he is.
He's like ineligible. He's like it's like the Oscars where it's like made a cool horror movie, like never is going to get attention there. Like it's just one of those like yeah, it's great, but it doesn't matter.
He directed Weapons, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. That's exactly it.
So yeah, I think that is it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, I think I got let's ride with Creed. Why not? Let's see what happens.
Okay, I like it. Fortune favors the bold. Defensive Rookie of the Year. I can't imagine either one of us have any bold takes here. We're both going Abdul Carter, right?
No, I'm going bold again.
Wow. Okay. I thought this was like the most, like I couldn't even think of a second option. So go ahead.
Give me of the Baltimore Ravens, Mike Green. Let's see it happen. We're going to get a pass rusher there. Another guy. They need him to be good right away because they just don't really have the like elite pass rushers. Let's see him in there, make some plays happen. Why not have some fun with it?
Okay. Kyle, I don't think you're going to be right about either of these takes.
Just wait and see.
I think Abdul Carter is like he's only like plus 200 to win. I'm like, that's insane. Like he should be like minus like 1,000.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably going to win it. It's fine.
Let's look this up. Where is Mike Green in the defensive rookie of the year odds? Let's see. Is he on the list? Okay, there's like 300 names. He has to be one of these. He is not. Wait, no, here. I spelled it wrong. Oh no, he's there. He's actually he's third. Okay. Maybe I'm being too hard on you, Kyle.
Third. Here we go. We're in.
Yeah, not expecting that. How is he third? What am I missing here?
I mean, he was a guy who fell in the draft for off the field reasons, like.
Right, because voters are definitely going to not hold that against him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, the Ravens, another one. They're going to be on TV a lot. He's going to have a lot of big opportunities, and you get the chance. What if Kayvon Thibodeau starts taking away all of Abdul Carter's sacks?
That's true. Yeah, I guess maybe the snap count. Travis Hunter is also second, which is like the most insane take out there.
Isn't he playing offense more than defense this year?
Yeah, I don't get that at all. Maybe it's like the could he win both type of thing. Yeah. My other I did two candidates as well that didn't win. James Pierce Jr. and Jody Barron were my other two.
Yeah, I had James Pierce Jr. on there too, just because like I think he's going to rack up sacks if he's good. Or at least make an impact because that defense needs it. The other one I had was Maxwell Harrison. Like, why not? You know, I think. Oh,
sure. Nope.
There goes my dong. But yeah, Maxwell Harrison, I think, could be an interesting one if he's an upside play.
Okay. Yeah, and Kyle with Mike Green and Maxwell Harrison has a type with some of these picks. But let's go to as Kyle sees if his dog will be starting to be quiet. Let's go to the offensive rookie of the year awards here. Who I went with for my candidates. I went Ashton Genty and Emeka Egbuka, but it has to be Cam Ward, right? I mean, anytime a quarterback who is a number one overall pick has a really good year, it's always the quarterback who wins. That's clearly what you went here too with Kyle, right?
Yeah, I had Cam Ward. I
Okay.
wasn't going to get that bold. But yeah, I had Gene and then Travis Hunter for this one as well. I mean, those are the other two candidates I'd have. But yeah, I think Cam Ward just has to play pretty well, or I mean, he just has to play passable at this point to probably win Offensive Rookie of the Year, and I think there's a chance he's going to be pretty good. So yeah, give me Cam Ward and give me the quarterback.
Yeah. Kyle, head coach, where are you going?
Jonathan Gannon. Why not?
Okay, your guy.
I think there's a chance there. So yeah, let's go Jonathan Gannon as coach of the year. I think he's if the Cardinals make some noise like I'm hoping, I think that he is gonna be in the conversation for coach of the year. I thought about a few other guys, especially new coaches making the playoffs. Pete Carroll potentially, or could Mike Vrabel make the playoffs? Could one of those guys make some noise? I think those are guys exceeding expectations, but we're gonna go with Gannon.
Yeah, not a bad take. I also thought about Vrabel. I thought about Dan Campbell. I thought about Ben Johnson. Give me Kevin O'Connell. I think that I don't know, just feels like I think the Vikings could be a surprise playoff team. And if that happens, I could see this being yeah, let's give it to him.
Yeah, I like Kevin O'Connell a lot. I wouldn't hate it at all. So no issues there for me.
All right. 3 awards left: MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, and Defensive Player of the Year. Let's go Offensive Player of the Year next. I'll start it off. Candidates, I think Jamar Chase is going to get a lot of touches. I think he could certainly win it. Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry, but I just feel like Saquon, behind the best offensive line in the league, going to get a ton of carries. Feels like he should be the odds-on favorite.
Yeah, you're going to have your usual suspects. I think all those guys are going to play a part. I wrote down Justin Jefferson, but then it's is he 100% healthy? We'll see. But also, I think the thing is if he has a great season and Minnesota has a good season, I think he's going to get a lot of credit for it with a young quarterback in his first season starting. So I'll just stick with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, again, there's 4 guys where it's one of these guys probably will win it. I feel kind of similar for Defensive Player of the Year. I have to say, I was surprised Aiden Hutchinson, the betting favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. I kind of get it because he was favored last year. He was probably going to win it until he got injured. But I don't know. I like him a lot. I like Myles Garrett a lot. But I'm still just going to go TJ Watt. I just feel like that's the safe take. He's the guy who typically gets the most pressures, most sacks. I'm just going to go that.
Yeah, not a lot of complaints there. I thought about Chris Jones too, but he doesn't usually put up the numbers for this. But I did actually go with the favorite. I put Aiden Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm. I think it's possible. I feel like I trust TJ Watt a little bit more. And those graphics are going to show up if whatever stats Watt leads in. The Steelers fans will be out in force. Actually, Steelers fans versus Lions fans. That could be a really toxic online discourse if that happens.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely going to happen. So get your comments section ready. I hope you're excited.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Kyle, MVP. Last year, famously, I predicted Joe Burrow to win MVP and predicted the Bengals to miss the playoffs, which almost came true. He got votes and missed the playoffs. So I feel like that was a pretty good take. Kyle, who do you have winning MVP into the 2025 season?
I went between 2 guys, mainly because I wasn't sure if I was gonna put one team in the playoffs, and I wasn't gonna pull a Joe Burrow and Bengals miss the playoff situation. I was going between Jaden Daniels and Patrick Mahomes. I went with Patrick Mahomes. I think that they're going to air it. I think they have to air it out more this season. I think, I know Rashee Rice is going to miss some time, but they still have a pretty good receiving room. I think they still got options there to make it work, and they could survive without him 6 weeks. Then he's going to come back. They're going to have a very good receiver room, I think. I think they're going to stretch the ball downfield. I think this defense is a little more susceptible this season. So I think we're going to see a return to form for Patrick Mahomes as far as challenging teams with the vertical ball and making some things happen with the speed he's got. So give me Mahomes in this spot.
I don't think it's crazy. And in fact, at one point, I even put Mahomes as my pick on there. Here's why I ultimately didn't, is because the Chiefs just run so many long drives. Like, they don't really push. I think they'll push the ball down the field more, now they can actually protect Mahomes long enough to do that. But, like, I just don't know if they're going to do it as much. It's not going to go back to the Tyreek Hill days or even the first year Tyreek was gone, but they still could block well. I don't think it's going to go quite back to that. They still like to be very methodical offense. I think they won't have enough possessions for him to get the bulk numbers. So I was like, okay, let's do Joe Burrow. And then I checked my notes to see if he was a playoff team again. And I don't have him as a playoff team, spoiler alert. So, okay, don't do that again. So I'm just going to go Lamar. I also feel like there's something with Lamar of like, he probably should have won it last year. He was first team All-Pro. So like, he's going to put up numbers. And like, I think the voters will be more likely to give it to him this year because like they kind of feel bad for just giving Josh Allen an MVP that he should have won 2 years ago. It's a whole, like, they're on a delay.
Yeah. It seems like they're always correcting themselves with that stuff. So do you see an argument for anyone outside of, if I were to say, I don't want to, it's too boring to pick Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, and Allen. That's too easy. Do you see a case for anybody else? Is it just Daniels, or do you see anybody else even beyond Daniels?
Yeah, Drew says no shout out for Jaden Daniels. Kyle gave Jaden Daniels a shout out. Yeah, I mean, someone's in the chat, but I think this is like Baker. I don't think that's out of the question with the offense around him. If he can put up numbers, like I think that's an option, kind of like in a Matt Ryan style of way. Like, yeah, I think Baker's probably next on that list, right? Maybe even Hurts.
Like, yeah, you got to go through the tier 2 guys, right? Like, could you see what if Stafford's just hot the whole season? And then it's because he's got Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua healthy right now. So what if it's Stafford? I don't think Jared Goff's going to get enough love for it. Stafford, Baker,
I don't know. What if Goff's just awesome this year? And like, you could say like, hey, no Ben Johnson, offensive line, not great.
Yeah.
What are you going to say now? Like, I guess I could see something like that happening.
Yeah, I could see it too, actually. You're right. So I would say one of those 4 NFC guys, though, for sure. Because those are probably going to be the 4 best teams. And then you're looking at those 4 guys. I still would not go non-quarterback. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be, I still have Jaden as my runner-up, but I think it's going to be all predicated on, I still think he's a star. It's just going to be predicated on, can Washington make the playoffs again?
Yeah. Marcus says Hurts isn't winning MVP. He was second MVP voting a couple years ago. Let's not forget. It's not out of the question. Although I'm not expecting it to happen. Yeah. But Kyle, that is the awards. Always fun to do that. Let's get into the playoff prediction. So here's what I did. I predicted the 7 teams in each conference that I have making the playoffs. I just predicted. I didn't predict, the pathway or anything. I just predicted the 2 teams that will play in the conference championship game, or I guess 4 teams that will play in the conference championship, the 2 that will play in the Super Bowl, and who will win the Super Bowl. So that's how I did it. Should I just get into my list and then we go from there?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, here, let's do it this way. So I'll do the AFC, a very boring AFC 7 for me. It's just the same as last year, where Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, Texans, Broncos, Chargers, Steelers. Very boring, but that's what I ended up with for my 7.
Yeah, I see the argument for it. I wanted to make some changes because it feels like year to year there's always a couple teams in and out for each conference. So I have the top 5 is still the same for me. I have the Ravens, Bills, Chiefs. I have the Texans at 4. I think it's going to take a lot for them to not win the AFC South. And then I still think the Broncos are the 4th best team in the AFC right now. I think I would take them right now as the 5 seed. There was a lot of candidates for this. You mentioned the 2 teams that made the playoffs last year, the Chargers and the Steelers. I think the Patriots are going to be in the mix if things go right. I think there's a couple other teams that could be in the mix if things go right, even if they're longer shots. But I went to Cincinnati Bengals and the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's see some things happen there. I think it's going to be fun. I think those are the best 2 quarterbacks remaining, and I'm leading on the quarterbacks for this conference.
Yeah, let's go Raiders. Let's make that happen. I like it. I don't know, Kyle. I'm watching this preseason stuff, and the Bengals can't even get stops on these backup offenses that are playing against them.
Yeah, it's tough. I get it, but They're going to score a lot of points. Let's just hope that they just need to get to 10 wins. Can they do that? I mean, that's the hope. Maybe 9 wins is enough.
Yeah.
If they can get to 9 wins, I think anything's possible because they are so good offensively.
I hope so. They're fun to watch. Let's just stick with the AFC and let's finish that, and then we'll go to the NFC. For the two teams that I wanted to have as my conference championship, I'm going to go a AFC rematch, but not of last year, 2 years ago. Ravens Chiefs is my prediction.
I have the same.
Okay. All right. Well, then, Kyle, I'll ask you, who do you have winning the AFC championship game?
Is it too boring? It feels like it's picking the San Antonio Spurs in the 2000s or the Patriots during the 2000s. I have the Chiefs winning. I picked the Bills to win last season. I thought they had a great shot. I think they exceeded even my expectations. But I think right now, until I see another team actually beat the Chiefs in the American Football Conference, I am taking the Chiefs to win again. So give me the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And look, Taylor Swift's made the Super Bowl every year she's been with Travis Kelce. The engagement's not stopping that, baby. Here we go.
Yeah. Sure. I guess you're not wrong. Kyle, it is too boring to pick the Chiefs, but it's also what I'm doing. I mean, I agree with you. It's like I can't honestly, if I'm picking the Bills or the Ravens, it's because I want to have fun. Like, it's not because I actually think that one of those two teams it has a better chance of making the Super Bowl than the Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the craziest thing because all of these games come down to 1 or 2 plays, right? Like any one of these teams could eventually beat the Chiefs, but we still haven't seen it happen. And it just feels like we're talking about the Patriots in the past again. And it's like, you have to be able to beat this team when it matters most. And until somebody does it, like the Colts did in 2006, it's just hard to envision that pathway. So yeah, I think the Chiefs are the rightful rulers. I think that they still have some questions defensively. We'll see how those are addressed. I think that they're going to pass the ball a lot more, though. I think when this team's healthy in the playoffs, they got some suspensions to deal with. But when they have Rice and Brown and Worthy out there, I think that's going to be a really tough offense to stop down the stretch.
Yeah, I think so as well. I made polls for this stuff as well because I wanted to kind of see where the community was. Hey, we always get criticized for our takes. I had to get the community on the record here. So I asked, with the 4 division winners, I put all those in a poll and said, who is most likely to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC? Texans, Bills, Ravens, and Chiefs. Do you want to guess who won that poll?
I'm going to guess it's the Chiefs. I think it's going to be the Chiefs at 27%.
Okay, a little bit higher than 27 because the Texans didn't get much. So they were at 35%. So were the Ravens, a tie for first. So I ended up I wanted to then figure out who's going to win the Super Bowl. I put them both in the final poll just to figure that out. So it's them and the winner of the NFC, who we'll talk about right now. Kyle, who were your 7 teams that you had making the playoffs in the NFC?
All right, I have the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles at first. I have Tampa Bay Buccaneers, number 2. I have the Detroit Lions, number 3. The Los Angeles Rams, number 4. Minnesota Vikings, maybe the 3rd best team in the NFC or 4th best team in the NFC, in my opinion, for the regular season, but they're going to end up here at the 5 seed because of wild card. I got America's team, the Arizona Cardinals, at number 6. And then I have the Green Bay Packers at number 7. So I do have the Washington Commanders missing out on the playoffs.
Wow.
Just don't trust that defense enough. And I think that's one of the that's why I don't have Jaden Daniels winning MVP.
Gotcha. Well, that's crazy to me. I mean, so I have Washington and I also had the 49ers making it. I don't have the Packers or the Cardinals making it. The Vikings are my 5 seed. Vikings are my 6 seed. Commanders are my 5 seed. That's surprising. I mean, they were in the conference championship last year. That would be quite the disappointing year too.
Yeah, is regression really not that crazy of a take? Like, I think the defense overperformed expectations and still has a lot of issues. And I mean, I think they do a lot of things well, but I don't think it's necessarily guaranteed this group's going to be awesome again.
It's not guaranteed. It's a bold take, Kyle. We'll see how it goes. If we weren't an hour and 20 minutes into this, I would dive further in. But for the NFC, for the 2 teams in the conference championship, I went with the Eagles, obviously. I also went with the Rams. I just feel like the Rams are I just feel like they're going to be a tough out once it gets to the playoffs. I don't even have them as the number 2 seed, but I think I don't know. I feel like I trust them most there. Yeah. Oh, who do you have?
Yeah. I actually do have them losing in the first round, but I do agree with the take, though.
Okay.
I think the Rams are going to be tough in the playoffs. Once again, fortune favors the bold. Let's go the Minnesota Vikings and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
Wow.
in the
Okay.
conference championship. Let's get
Well,
something fun.
that would be again. I hope that happens. I have the Eagles. I'm the most boring prediction ever. I'm going with the Eagles Chiefs rematch. I think that's what's going to happen. Like I can't look at these teams and say like I think that there's going to be a different team. Not to say that like okay, listen, if you ask me is it going to be a rematch or not a rematch, I'll say not a rematch. Like I'll take the field over either one of these teams in either of their conference, but like I just feel like they both have the highest odds right now.
Yeah, they're the two most talented teams right now, or the teams you trust the most, at least in those spots. So I don't hate the take. I want a little more fun in the NFC because I do think it's more of a crapshoot. I say this over and over again. I think you've got to be really, really bold to pick someone outside the big three in the AFC. I think you just are just saying that just to say it, honestly. Like I think those three teams in the AFC are significantly better. And the Chiefs have beaten the other two teams multiple times in the playoffs, so it's hard to pick against the Chiefs. Right. The NFC, however, yes, the Eagles are the best team, I think, but there's a lot of really good teams. I think you could talk me into 5 or 6 teams potentially making the Super Bowl, honestly. And that's what I'm going to do. I want something a little bit different. So I'm going Minnesota Vikings in the Super Bowl over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay, Vikings, Chiefs, the team that has won 4 Super Bowls versus the team that has lost 4 Super Bowls. Interesting. I have Chiefs, Eagles. You have Vikings, Chiefs. NFC, believe it or not, the Vikings did not win that poll. They weren't eligible because they did not lead their division. Who do you think won the NFC? You probably have a pretty good guess.
Yeah, it's going to be the Eagles. So yeah. I imagine they're, 30, 40%?
Way low. You're clearly not cheating, Kyle, because it was 57% for the Eagles. It was a blowout. 26 for the Lions, 8 for the Rams, 9 for the Bucks. It was definitely a blowout there. So the Eagles, Chiefs, and Ravens were the final 3. Eagles won the poll. 45% picked the Eagles, 27% picked the Chiefs, 28% picked the Ravens. So Ravens technically were the second. Were the led the AFC, which is a little surprising. Thought it would have been the Chiefs. My pick is the Chiefs. I'm picking the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl again. I think they had some issues last year. They fixed those issues. I think the reports of the Chiefs' demise are greatly exaggerated. I think this team should be the favorites to win. They're currently 4th in odds. Somehow the Ravens, Bills, and Eagles are all ahead of them. I don't get it at all. Like, what are we doing here? The Chiefs are the Chiefs, and yes, it's boring, but it's also what I think is going to happen. Kyle, you got to go out on a limb here, right? You can't pick the Vikings to lose the Super Bowl.
Yes, I can. That's what I'm going to do. Chiefs over Vikings in the Super Bowl.
All right. Well, I think we've done this before. I think we both picked the Ravens a few years back, if I remember, to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But we both had the same. It's never as fun when we both pick the same team.
I think last year we both had the Lions in the Super Bowl.
Okay. Yeah, I had them winning and the Chiefs losing. I remember.
Yeah, because I had the Bills over the Lions. So, so yeah, we've been in lockstep agreement for a lot of these. But yeah, so we have the Chiefs both winning. Yeah, I think it seems like it's getting borderline disrespectful. I was okay with making the argument for Josh Allen has been better than Patrick Mahomes the last couple seasons. But I think if you're going to say this team is now, slipping or in a downward trajectory, I think you're greatly exaggerating the situation there. I think this team's still going to be really good and still has a lot of years to be really, really good too.
Yeah, I remember let's just face it, the Patriots aren't that good anymore. I remember this. Guys, we just went through this. We know how this works. Like, again, I'm not saying that the Chiefs can't fall off. I'm just saying that I don't think they have this year. I think that they're still very good and they're still going to continue to be very good.
I agree. Yeah, I think they got a lot of potential.
Yeah, the Chiefs might be pretty good. That is our. We spent 8 podcasts of an hour and a half each podcast, all to come to Chiefs probably going to win the Super Bowl. Thanks everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, glad you got all that. Thank you for watching.
Kyle, let them know you can find us on Twitter before we head out.
Yeah, make sure to follow him on Twitter. That is at Jackson Kruger. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Gronin, and make sure to follow the account page at On the Sideline JK. That is at On the Sideline JK.
Of course, if you like audio-only podcasts, search On the Sideline Podcast. We're available there as well. If you found us through those podcasts, you can also check out the YouTube channel, Jackson Kruger Sports. If you want to see my fancy new setup, that's how you can do that. Kyle, What a run. Eight episodes. I think we both traveled out of the country during this series, but here we are. We made it through the off season. Next week, week 1 preview.
Week 1 preview. We're ready to get into the picks. That's going to be exciting. And yeah, we're finally here, and we're glad for everybody who sticks out through the summer, because that is a very long off season, as we all know.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who does tune in for those off-season shows. We do appreciate it, because it can, sometimes be a little quiet in here during the off-season. Always a lot louder during the regular season. But we appreciate those of you who are just tuning back in, getting ready for the season as well. Should be a lot of fun. And Kyle, we didn't even talk about Shedeur Sanders once. Look at us.
Thank God. Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the background. The setup looks nice. It does look like you're about to duel Darth Maul, but it looks nice.
That's what I'm going for. Yeah, I think they're good.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Okay, good. Again, thank you to everybody. We do appreciate it. We'll be back next week, 6 p.m. Eastern, not noon. If it says noon, it's a lie. 6 p.m. Eastern. Be on the lookout for us there. Until next time, have a good one.
Peace.